one-armed army can't stop He-Man and Battle Cat. You win this coin, He-Man.
Trapjaw figure from the Masters of the Universe collection. He-Man and Battle Cat figures each.
Alright, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Battle Cat. This is the first creature release of the Masters of the Universe Origins line, and of course you got to start with He-Man's trusty sidekick Battle Cat. It only makes sense. These were street dated as well as the rest of the Masters of the Universe Origins lineup for August 1st in Walmart stores. However, they were selling a few of these early on Walmart.com, and I've seen these going in and out of stock recently, so I'll put a product link down in the video description box below so you can check that out and see if they're in stock at your local store, or you might get lucky and find this in stock online and be able to purchase it that way. Retail price on this bad boy is $24.86 because Walmart does really weird pricing, but it's a good price point in my opinion, honestly. And looking at this packaging right out of the gate, you can see that Mattel was trying to mimic the original vintage look of this toy. In fact, we got almost identical artwork up top on this nice fin here, but the artwork has actually been revamped with some new art that actually has the same kind of, posing and picturesque imagery that we had on the vintage, but it's just been updated a little to modern times with some modern artwork. On the sides, we've just got logos of the Masters of the Universe as well as Battle Cat. And then on the back, we've got a nice, beautiful artwork scene where He-Man is battling against Skeletor with Castle Grayskull in the background, and then we got some nice action feature callouts that show the armor is removable as well as the different articulation we have on Battle Cat. So his head swivels around as well as showing his tail moves. We also have some cross sells for the rest of the wave 1 of this Masters of the Universe Origins line, where we got He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, Skeletor, Evil-Lyn, Beastman, Battle Cat, and of course Prince Adam and his Sky Sled. But let's go ahead and get Battle Cat out of the packaging. Oh wait, before we do that, for you inbox collectors, let me give you a rundown of just how big this package is so you know how much to prepare on your shelf. So 12 inches wide, and at the tippy top of the card it is also 12 inches. So you're going to need some beefy space on your shelf if you're an inbox collector. But I'm not an inbox collector, so I'm going to take him out of the package and we're going to examine him closer. And here he is in all his wonderful glory. So quick measurement. The top of his saddle is about 7 inches at its highest point, and with the armor and his tail, he is about 11 inches wide. Now, granted, this does change his height when you change his legs and move them and pose them differently, because yes, that's right, we've got different points of articulation on Battle Cat. The original vintage figure, was that just solid piece of molded plastic, and it was not the funnest thing to play with as a child. I remember growing up and having my Battle Cat, and when I first opened that, I was like, man, did I get ripped off? When a 5-year-old is thinking he got ripped off with a toy, something is suspect. But either way, I still loved my Battle Cat figure, but it just always weirded me out as a kid that I could never pose him, and he just had that solid predatory stance, and it was just really unfortunate. Right out of the gate, you can see on the battle armor we got some changes that the vintage toy did not have. So the battle armor has yellow painted eyes. So that is more in line with the vintage He-Man animated television series where, the armor did have yellow eyes. So that is a nice change there. We got some nice paint details with the yellow stripes. Good looking fur lines and details. Let's go ahead and take his front armor off because it literally just pulls right off. Just held in there with some little tabs. Pop it on, pop it off, very easy to do. Another odd thing I noticed, their eyes, while they did dot the eyes with black dots, he's got green eyeballs instead of white eyeballs. I don't know why Mattel would go through all the trouble of, painting yellow on the armor, but they didn't bother to paint his eyeballs white. That was, it's a little bit lazy in my opinion. Mouth does close and open, so that's as wide as it gets. And that's as close as they get. He's got those giant teeth, so he's not able to fully close his mouth per se, but it does look great, and it is nice to have that option. He does have some great head articulation. We can rotate the head side to side, look up, look down. So that is pretty handy. The armor, as per usual, is easy to remove. You're just going to take that tab off there, slide it off just like the original toy, and set that off to the side. And then now you've got a basic Battle Cat, or Cringer if you want to be specific, but we'll still call him Battle Cat. So as far as his articulation goes. So we have a tail, rotates as well as pivots up and down. So that's pretty handy. Again, we already mentioned his head and neck area with the rotation and the jaw. Now the legs, that's as far as it's going to go back. As far as the front legs, back legs, they're going to go quite far backwards, so that's pretty handy. Front legs, going to go that far forward, and once you do rotate these legs, you will notice that the stripes are no longer in line with each other. Obviously, there's no other really way around that, so if you're OCD, just don't look at it. But that's as sprawled out as you can get him. You're going to get some rotation of the lower part of the leg as well as a hinge up and down. There is no articulation of his ankles, and that is a big downside to this in my opinion, just because when you're posing him, so when he's straight up and down like this, you'll notice he is flat on his feet. But anytime you want to like change that any way, shape, or form, so you want to get him spread out, a more predatory, see, because he's resting on like the palms at all times because he doesn't have any ankle articulation. Posing him makes it really difficult because he's always awkwardly not being able to be flat-footed. So that really, even though we have the added articulation on this figure, it makes it difficult to pose him and get him to stand upright just because he doesn't have that flat base to actually stand on. So it's almost like we have articulation, but it goes to waste because of the fact that we don't have any ability to manipulate the bottoms of his feet. And that is one cool detail. They do have the animal paw on the bottom of his feet, so great job there. So you have articulation, but you're almost always going to have to pose him with this straight up and down look. And you know, it's a trade-off, I guess. We still have a great looking figure overall. We still got some awesome head articulation, mouth articulation, and some nice paint and sculpt details. His weight, he feels a lot heftier than the original toy. That original toy, since it was just a molded piece of plastic for the most part, it just, you know, felt hollow and lightweight and just cheap. This one, he's got some nice weight to his midsection. I mean, it still is hollow, but because we got these added articulative, that's not a word, articulating joints, he's definitely got some nice heft to him. So we'll bring in He-Man, of course, show you some scale. That's what they look side by side. Great looking pairing. And of course, we got to throw the armor back on there and see what he looks like in full kit. And here we have our heroic duo sitting there looking all sorts of majestic, and it's quite the iconic look. Overall, I am happy with the Battle Cat figure. The $25 price point I do believe is fair. The only downside, in my opinion, is just the lack of articulation at the feet ankle area, just because, again, when you try to pose him and get him in certain stances, you know, he's already leaning to one side. It makes it super difficult because of that lack of articulation to pose him correctly without having any sort of balancing issues. But again, $25, everything else, the updated details on the armor, the shoulder articulation, the knee bend, I think that's all great. I just think they should have went that extra mile and added the articulation at the ankles. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on the Masters of the Universe Origins lineup as a whole down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button, share this video with your friends if you found the information helpful, and as always, thanks for watching, guys. It really means a lot.